Greetings children, welcome to my channel XI Accountancy by Shakun, accounting made easy for you all. Before we proceed further, I would like to request you to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done that. This will really motivate me to upload more and more content for the benefit of the student community. Please like the video if it helped you solving the homework given by your school teacher, and don't forget to hit the bell button so that you are notified as and when I post the video. In this video, we'll be talking about the bank reconciliation statement, which is chapter 12 of T.S. Gariwal. The subtopics to be covered would be the meaning of bank reconciliation statement, the presentation, preparation with the help of an example. We have already talked about the meaning and presentation in the previous video. In this video, we'll be concentrating on the preparation in case of unfavorable balance as per cash book and passbook. So moving on. Let's first have a brush up about the meaning of bank reconciliation statement. So a bank reconciliation statement, as we have already discussed in the previous videos, means a statement which is prepared in order to reconcile the balances of cash as well as the balances in the cash book as well as in the passbook, because there are some entries which may be recorded in the cash book but not in the passbook, and some entries may be recorded in the passbook by the bankers but not in the cash book. So those transactions, they need to be rectified and we need to reconcile or match the balances of cash book and passbook. For more details, you can click on the I button, which the previous videos which discuss in detail about the bank reconciliation statement meaning and need and importance. Moving on, the presentation of bank reconciliation statement has also been discussed in the previous videos, and I would just like to reiterate the fact that if the balance as per cash book is given to you in the question, it may either be a debit balance or a credit balance. A debit balance, that is the balance, it means it is the receipts balance, so that's why it is a plus balance, and a credit balance means some payment has been made, so that is why it is a minus balance. So if you know the cash book balance DR and CR, for the passbook the balances will be opposite. So in case of passbook, DR would mean minus and CR would mean plus. So this is the format of bank reconciliation statement. You start with one balance and all the transactions are mentioned here either in the plus or the minus column, and then finally you get the balance as per passbook. So there either the balance as per cash book would be given or the balance as per passbook would be given. If we start with passbook, we end up with the balance of cash book, and as I told you, passbook DR means minus and CR means plus, which is opposite to the balances of cash book. There is an alternative method also, in which instead of having plus and a minus column, you have details and amount, and all the transactions are added and subtracted respectively in the particulars column. Now, let's talk about the preparation of bank reconciliation statement when the unfavorable balance is given in the question. It may be either the unfavorable balance of the cash book or passbook. So let's understand this with the help of an example. So unfavorable balance as per cash book. This question has been taken under this heading. Okay. So let's have an example. Prepare a bank reconciliation statement from the following. On 31st of March 2015, a merchant's cash book showed a credit bank balance of 10,500, but due to the following reasons, the bank passbook showed some differences. So first of all, we should know that his cash book showed a credit bank balance of 10,500. Now you know that in case of cash book, DR means plus and CR means minus. So since this is a credit bank balance, that means this 10,500, this is a negative balance and it will be shown on the minus, in the minus column. Moving on. A check of 540 issued to Mohan has not been presented for payment. Now, as I explained to you previously, we will take two balances here. One will be the cash book and the other one will be the passbook. A check of 540 has been issued to Mohan. So when we issue a check to somebody, our cash book is decreased. The amount is deducted from our cash book because we have issued a check, but it has not been presented for payment. So obviously, if the check has not been presented to the bank, the passbook will not decrease. So passbook is greater, cash book is lesser. Now since we are starting the question with the cash book, I'm going to write it here. We are going to compare with what? Since we are starting with cash book, we are going to compare with the passbook. So if I look at the passbook here, my passbook is greater than the cash book. So when I compare with passbook, if the passbook is greater, it means it is plus. And if the passbook is lesser, that means it is minus. So in this transaction, the first one, the passbook is greater. So this amount will be added. Okay. Second transaction. A post-dated check for 100 has been debited in the bank column of cash book, but under no circumstances was it possible to present it. A post-dated check has been debited in the bank column of cash book, but under no circumstance was it possible to present it. What does this mean? See, children usually get confused here that whether it is a check received or whether it is a check paid. How can you know that? A post-dated check means the date of which is in the days to come has been debited in the bank column. Now, when do you debit it? All the receipts are always debited. That means this check has been received by the business people and it has been debited in the cash book. So that means our cash book increased. But since it was a post-dated check, so there is no possibility that the passbook will increase. Now, since I'm going to look at the passbook only, my passbook, cash book is greater, passbook is lesser. Since the passbook is lesser, this 100 will be subtracted. I hope that's clear to everyone. It was debited in the bank column. That means cash book was increased, but it was not presented obviously because it was a post-dated check. So passbook did not increase. Passbook is lesser, so minus. The second transaction done. Now third one, 4 checks of 1200 sent to the bank have not been collected so far. There were 4 checks, the total of which was 1200. They were sent to bank. Why would you send a check to the bank? Why would you do that? Obviously, when you receive a check, then you deposit the same check into the bank. So that means our cash book increased by 1200. But have not been collected so far. Passbook people have not increased because they have not collected it. So again, if I look at my passbook, my passbook is lesser. So this 1200 will be subtracted. In the same transaction, we have another one here. A check of 400 deposited in the bank has been dishonored. This also means the same. Since we deposited the check into bank, so that means our cash book increased. But the same check got dishonored. So passbook obviously remains at the same level. Passbook could not increase because the check has been dishonored because of some reason. So again, the passbook is lesser. So that means we are going to subtract this 400 also. So third transaction also done. Moving to the fourth one. As per instructions, the bank paid 50 as fire insurance premium, but the entry has not been made in the cash book. So as I told you that sometimes the business people, what they do is they give standing instructions to the bank that certain premiums, certain payments will be made by them directly. So the bank people, they made the payment of insurance premium. So when they made the payment, our passbook got decreased. Okay. But no entry has been made in cash book means the cash book is at the same level. I have to compare with the passbook. My passbook is lesser than the cash book. Since it is lesser, so this will also be a minus item. So fourth transaction done. Coming to the fifth one. There was a debit in the passbook of 15 in respect of bank charges. Debit in the passbook. What does this mean? It should be absolutely clear to you that I told you that since in case of cash book, DR means plus. So in case of passbook, DR means minus and CR means plus. It is always the opposite. So there was a debit in the passbook of 15 in respect of bank charges. That means that the passbook people, they have deducted rupees 15 on account of bank charges. Means my passbook is decreased by rupees 15, but obviously it has not been recorded in the cash book. If I look at passbook, passbook is lesser than the cash book, so this 15 will be minus. Similar in the same transaction we have and a credit of 25 for interest on current account, but no record exists in the cash book. Credit of 25, passbook credit means plus. So that means in the same transaction the interest has been credited by the bank people, means our account was increased with rupees 25, but the same transaction was not recorded in the cash book. Now when I look at the passbook, my passbook is greater by rupees 25. Since it is greater, so therefore I am going to add this 25. Please note, I am again reiterating that I'm again and again following this rule, okay? I'm just trying to analyze the transaction, think about the transaction, what happened and how did it affect the cash book and passbook. And I'm only looking at passbook. If the passbook is greater, then it is plus. If it is lesser, then minus. I'm applying the same rule here. So this transaction also done. We come to the last one. Uh, Check of 5,000 dated 15th April 2019. Whenever the dates are given, I would request you to look that when are we preparing the bank reconciliation statement. We are preparing the statement on 31st of March 2015. Now they are saying a check of 5,000 dated, I think there is an error in the amount here. This would be 15. Okay, so check of the date. Check of 5,000 dated 15th April 2015 issued to MN Company was dishonored, being post dated. It was also not recorded in the books of account yet. Now a tricky transaction. Check of 5,000 which was dated as 15th of April and it was issued to somebody was dishonored. That means in no way, since the check was dishonored, passbook did not increase obviously. Since it did not decrease because this check was issued to MN Company but it got dishonored. So passbook was not decreased. But the same transaction was not recorded in the cash book also. Error occurs when one transaction is recorded at one place and not recorded at the other place. So here, since the check got dishonored, passbook did not change. And same transaction was not recorded in cash book, so cash book also did not change. So we are not going to record this transaction in the books of accounts. We will not, in the bank reconciliation statement. So now let's have a look at how our question will look. I have already told you that which amounts will be added and subtracted. I think we have only 540 and 25 in the add column, rest all are negative items. Okay, so this is the format. It is very important to make the proper format. You must write as on here. It's a part of format and your marks will be cut if you don't make proper formats. So we were given the balance as per cash book. It was a negative balance, so we write it in the minus column. Then there were certain transactions which were given to us. We will write all the transactions and respectively we will write their amounts in the plus column or in the minus column. So I am writing all the transactions here as you can see. So all the transactions which we ascertained, whether it is a plus transaction or a minus transaction, whether it would lead to plus or minus effect, all these transactions are recorded in the bank reconciliation statement. So all the transactions are recorded. As you must remember, the last transaction did not affect the cash book and passbook. So I have not recorded it in the bank reconciliation statement. So after you record all the transactions, then you must find out the balancing figure. As you can see, the greater total is on the minus side. If you see the minus side column gives us the greater total. So we'll write the greater total on both sides. Then we'll find out the balancing figure. We'll write the balancing figure on the lesser side. This is the balancing figure. And this balancing figure will be overdraft as per passbook. Since we started with the cash book, so obviously we end up with the passbook. So this is how we solve the question. Now this question was relating to the when the balance as per cash book, when the credit balance as per cash book was given, we did the question with that. Now we will be doing a question when unfavorable balance as per passbook is given. So before we take an example, I'll just like to reiterate the fact that in case of passbook, debit balance means a minus balance and credit balance means a plus balance. And when the passbook is given, we compare with the cash book. If the cash book is greater, then it's a plus item. If the cash book is lesser, then it's a minus item. So now let's have a look at the question. Okay, so prepare bank reconciliation statement from the following particulars as on 31st March 2015 when the passbook shows a debit balance of 2500. Debit balance as per passbook is a negative balance. It is a unfavorable balance. And now since it's an unfavorable balance, it will be shown in the minus column. Okay, the first transaction is check issued for 5,000. Check have been issued for 5,000. But up to 31st March 2015, only 3,000 could be cleared. Okay, so this is the cash book balance. This is the passbook balance. Checks have been issued for 5,000 up to 31st March 2015. So total cash book which which got reduced. The cash book got reduced with rupees 5,000, but only 3,000 could be cleared. That means 3,000 were only reduced from the passbook. So we are not concerned about the amount of checks that have been presented or those which have been cleared. हमें उससे कोई लेना देना नहीं है. We are only concerned about that transaction which was not recorded in either of the one place. So out of 5,000, since 3,000 has already been cleared, so we are not concerned with 3,000. We are concerned with the 2,000 which has been issued but not been cleared. So my cash book was decreased by 2,000, but my passbook was not decreased by 2,000. So now, since we have started the question with the passbook, we have to compare with the cash book. My cash book is lesser than the passbook, so this transaction will be a negative transaction. It will be shown in the minus column. I hope that's clear. We are not concerned with the amount of checks that has been cleared, has been presented. No, we are not concerned. Has been collected. No. We are concerned with those checks which have not been cleared, which have not been presented, or which have not been collected. So out of 5,000, we are only going to pass the entry for the transaction worth rupees 2,000. So first is done. Second, again cash book balance and passbook balance. So checks issued for 1,000. So again the checks have been issued but omitted to be recorded in the cash book. Now these checks have been issued. There is a difference here. Normally what we do is we issue a check and we record it in the cash book. We don't record it in the passbook. But here look at the language. Checks issued for 1,000. So first instinct would be to reduce the cash book. But read the question fully. Omitted to be recorded in the cash book. So we have not recorded it in the cash book. But obviously it must have been presented since he is not saying anything about presenting. So we'll assume that the checks must have been presented. So our passbook is reduced. But cash book is at the same level. Now if I look at cash book, my cash book is greater. Since it is greater, so this 1,000 will be added. Third transaction, checks deposited for 5,500 but checks for 500 were collected on 4th of April. As I told you, we are not concerned about what has been collected. But again, look at the statements. This 500, this was collected, so we should not be concerned about it. But it was collected on 4th of April. Look at the date. We are preparing on 31st of March. So as on 31st of March, this 500 worth check was not collected. Since he is not saying anything about the remaining 5,000, so obviously that means that by 31st of March, out of 5,500, checks for 5,000 must have been collected. Because he is not mentioning it, so obviously we'll assume that. He is only mentioning about this 500 which was collected on 4th. So on 31st, this 500 check was not collected. So again, let's do it balance wise. So we have a cash book balance, passbook balance. So out of the checks deposited, 500 worth checks were collected on 4th. So that means 500 का check जो है वो collect नहीं हुआ. So when we deposit the check, that means our cash book increased by 500 but our passbook did not increase by 500. We have to look at cash book. Cash book is greater than the passbook, so obviously this will be a plus item. Next transaction, again we'll have a cash book balance and a passbook balance. A discounted bill of exchange dishonored. Now what happens when we discount a bill of exchange? There is a bill, the amount due which I will receive, let's say after 3 months. So what option I have as a business is I can give that bill of exchange to the bank. Suppose I have a bills receivable worth rupees, let's say, the same example I'll take 1,000. Okay. So I have to receive this amount after 3 months. So I have an option that I'll give this bills receivable to the bank and take 1,000 rupees from the bank. The bank may charge some discounting charges, but I will get the remaining amount. Okay. So let's say I got 990 from the bank. So this is known as discounting the bill with the bank. Now what happens is that after 3 months, the bank will collect the amount from the person who had to make the payment to me. The bank will collect the amount from the debtor. Now, if the debtor fails to do that, so that means it leads to the dishonor. It leads to the dishonor of the bill, right? So I've just explained the transaction to you. A discounted bill of exchange dishonored. So when we discount the bill of exchange, what happens is our cash book also increases and our passbook also increases. But after 3 months, what happened is the passbook was reduced also. So I am going to make two here. So first what happened was when I discounted it, cash book also increased and passbook also increased. They both were again at the same level. So coming back here, they are at the same level. Then the check got dishonored. When the check got dishonored, the passbook was reduced. Why? Because the bank was not able to get that 1000 from the debtor. So bank is going to reduce our account by 1000. So our passbook is reduced. Now again I have to look at the cash book. Cash book is greater. So this will be plus. I am explaining it again. Since the check was discounted, this bill of exchange was discounted with the bank, cash book increased, passbook increased. Both were at the same level. But then what happened? Our passbook was reduced. Why? Because the check was dishonored. Bank will cut the amount from our account. So that's why if we look at cash book is greater than the passbook, therefore plus. Moving to the next transaction, I'll do it here. Again, cash book balance and passbook balance. A 500 debited in cash book but omitted to be banked. Now debited in cash book, how do I know it's a plus or a minus? I should know that cash book debit side means plus and credit side means minus. Debit means receipts. So a 500 debited in cash book means the cash book was increased by 500 but omitted to be banked means the passbook was not increased. So if I look at cash book is greater than the passbook. So this should be a plus item. Okay, the last transaction, we've talked about the fifth one. Again, cash book balance and passbook balance. Interest allowed by the bank 200 but no entry was passed in the cash book. Interest allowed by the bank. Bank allowing us interest will increase our account. So our passbook is greater. Cash book is lesser. Since it is lesser, so it's a negative transaction. So we have talked about all the transactions here in detail. So as we can see that we have three transactions in plus, sorry, four. We have four transactions in plus and then we have three transactions on the minus side. So let's have a look at the solution. So again, the format is very, very important. We had the balance as per passbook, which was a negative balance. So we write it in the minus column. Then the various transactions respectively will be shown in the books of accounts in the bank reconciliation statement. So respectively, we have discussed that which transaction has to be in the plus column and which transaction has to be in the minus column. So we have discussed that. Respectively, I have put all these items in the bank reconciliation statement as you can see. Okay, so these were the transaction. As you can see on the plus side we have 4 items, on the minus side we have 3. Why am I calculating that? Because my question is not in front of me. So I just want to make sure that all the transactions are correctly entered. After that I will do the total. The total on this side seems greater. So the total is written on the both sides and then we find out the balancing figure which comes on the plus column, and since we started with the passbook balance, so the balancing figure will be overdraft as per cash book. Since we started with passbook, we get with the result with cash book. So this is how we are required to solve these questions. So in this video, we have talked about the meaning of bank reconciliation statement, its presentation. We also talked about the preparation of bank reconciliation statement, but we talked about the unfavorable balance this time in this video, and this we all did with the help of examples. I hope the concepts were clear to you, and if you really liked my video, please show some love, like my video, put some comments, motivate me further, boost my morale. If you have any queries, you can write me on my email ID or leave a comment for the same. Like, share and subscribe. So this is Inside Accountancy by Shakun signing off. Thank you so much.